Welcome to the Big Scoop with Coop. I'm your host, Coop. Season 7 is still going strong, people. Make sure if you haven't already, make sure you do check out the website, thebigscoopwithcoop.com, where you can actually catch episodes from season 1 all the way to season 7. Make sure you do check me out on Facebook also, facebook.com/the Big Scoop with Coop. Also on Instagram at MCOOP317. YouTube, the Big Scoop with Coop, and Twitter, Scoop with Coop. But enough about me, people. Today's guest, man, this guy is an author. He's actually helping people around the world, teaching people about police violence and what to look for in signs. He has a book that's out that's called The First 7 Seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the one and the only Mr. Greg Winston. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Coop, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing well. And yourself?
I'm doing great.
Yes. So how's your day been going so far?
My day has been going just excellent. It's been a great day, and this is going to top it off.
Nice. Now, you know, we've been hearing for the last couple of years up to now the whole situation with Eric Garner. And you heard they actually just gave a decision on that policeman, Officer Daniel Pantello.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts about the whole situation of him becoming not guilty?
Well, first of all, I'm saddened by the decision, Coop, but it was predictable. Since 2015, there have only been 13 convictions. If you look at all the recent deaths from that time, it's about 8,000. So that tells me that we're only hitting at about 12 or 13%. Yeah, which is the reason I wrote the book. We've got to do something else. That's not working for us.
What do you think we have to do? I mean, to start off as citizens, what should we do?
Okay, the first thing I want to tell you is about something that most people don't talk about, Coop, and it's called qualified immunity. And this is a statute that came from the Supreme Court, and it was written to protect public figures anytime they did something wrong. It's been extended to police officers. And what it says, in no uncertain terms, is when they commit legal misconduct, unless they violated a clear rule. So what they've done is they've taken the clear rule statute and has been allowed to let police officers get away with things.
Wow.
Yeah. So if we want to do something, we need to change that. But in the meantime, I think some of the principles that I came up with will save lives.
Nice. Yeah. And I believe, like I said, your book is going to help a lot of people out in this situation. I'm going to speak on that book, and I'm going to speak on the book in a minute. But now, do you feel that in the future, anytime soon, that, you know, the wrongful deaths and the police violence, do you believe that'll slow down?
Not anytime soon, Coop. I'm sad to say it. But here's the thing. Did you know that most of the deaths that we hear about are underreported? Meaning there's about 30% more deaths than are actually committed. There's something called fatal encounters. It's a new website. It's a new way of counting deaths. They look at what's in the media and what actually happens. And their ruling was somewhere between 25 and 30% higher than what police report.
Wow.
Yeah. So no, I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon. But if we take responsibility, we can start to lessen it. The cameras help. But our actions are the real thing. That's what's going to help us more than anything.
And that makes sense. Ladies and gentlemen that's watching right now, make sure, like I said, if you are a parent or a single parent, or if you have nephews, kids, or whatever, make sure you pay attention to what Mr. Winston is saying right now. This is vital information that a lot of us did not know, especially myself. And Mr. Winston is here to educate all of us. Make sure you pay attention to this. Now, Mr. Winston, is this the reason why you wrote the book, The First 7 Seconds?
Well, the first thing is you're going to have to start calling me Greg. So
I'm sorry, Greg. Let's do it.
But I wrote the book, Michael, because I have a daughter. My daughter's 17, just turned 18. And I was reminded of what happened to Sandra Bland. And remember in Texas? And yes. So I was really concerned about it. The first thing I did was I took away all her hoodies, thinking that would help. And then I started to really think about it, and I stopped a police officer and asked him what he looked for. And the answers blew me away. So I kept doing it. I ended up interviewing over 120 police officers. So the book is from what they think. And my whole thing is, if we think like they do, then we can counteract what they're going to do.
That is true. That is very true.
So that's
Now,
the book.
wow. Now, speaking of that, I want to test your knowledge on this, what you've actually learned from talking to these police officers. What are like the 7 things that, cops look for, or several things that cops look for when they pull you over?
Oh, so let me give you a few of them because it surprised me. The first thing they look for is car damage. If the front bumper on the driver's side is hit, they tend to think that there was some accident, you stole the car. Second thing they look for, and these are kind of in order of what they've given me, they look at the license plate. If you can't read the number, if there's a plastic cover over it, or the registration's not right, they'll pull you over right away. Then they go to windows. If that driver's side window is cracked, they think you broke into the car. If it's too dark, meaning if your back windows are tinted the same as your front, they will pull you over. Here's what I didn't know. They read bumper stickers. If they're against the establishment, if they're rowdy bumper stickers, they will pull you over for that. Then they look at your form. If you're riding too low in the car, but here's the big one. Number 1 out of all of them is hoodies. If a hoodie is tied too tight around your face, they think you're trying to hide, and they will pull you over. Coop, here's one that's surprising. This surprised me. Do you know that if you stare at a police officer, it's almost like staring at a wild animal? They think it's a challenge.
Really?
Yeah, they go between extremes. If you stare too much, or if you keep looking away. And you know what I do? When I see them, I nod and wave at them. That's my practice. Yeah.
But you know what? That's really a smart move, Greg, because what you're doing, it seems like you're trying to make it more sociable, where it's not to the point where they're thinking or starting to think, let me go and start analyzing this civilian and let's find out what he's all about. I see what you're doing. You're making an approach to make it seem like you're not really hiding anything.
Yeah, I don't have anything to hide. So that's my approach. Yeah.
Wow. Now, when the cop pulls you over, let's say, okay, so you said they look for the bumper sticker, they look at the front bumper, they look at your hoodie, cracked windows and everything. When the cop approaches you, what is the first thing you should say to the cop?
Well, I typically wait and hear what they're going to say, but I find nothing wrong with a salutation. How are you today, officer? And watch your tone. Coop, it's one thing to address a cop, but if you have a tone that's similar to, like you have a dinner party, and sometimes you're serving dessert, and you say, would anybody care for a cup of coffee? That's about the tone you want when you're talking to them. It's not adversarial. It's not like you're afraid. It's right in the middle. So, yeah, I keep that in mind. So I'll address them with some salutations like hello, and then I'm going to wait to see what they say. I don't volunteer any information unless I'm asked. And I'm real guarded about what I'm going to say, even if I'm asked.
So let's say if a cop says something very bogus or out of the way, saying, I saw you run a red light 5 miles behind, and they waited 5 miles to pull you over, even though you know you did not run a light. Should you fuss with the situation, or should you agree with it, disagree, or how would you actually approach that?
The way that I would handle it is, as an officer, you may be mistaken. You may have me confused with someone else. However, if you're going to write a citation, I'll take the citation.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I don't cause any controversy.
That makes sense.
I tell you this, Coop. A lot of times people ask me, how do you get out of a ticket? Okay, that's a big one with me. And there are 2 H's I use. The first one is honesty. If a cop pulls me over and I've run a red light, and he pulls me over, he walks up to the car, I go, I was completely out of my head. I was thinking about God knows what. Yep, I absolutely did it. In many cases, they're so floored that you are honest, they'll give you a warning or let you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that goes back to the whole honesty is the best policy.
Right.
The old saying like that. So,
yeah. Now, the other H is humor. If you can say something funny about the weather, about traffic, I'll give you an example. I interviewed a police officer, and he said the funniest thing that ever happened to him was he pulled over a young lady, and she gave him her driver's license and had a paperclip on it. That means she's trying to bribe him. So anytime a cop sees a paperclip, that's what it means. And he said, he warned her. He says, I don't accept bribes, and I will take you to jail. And she kept it. She gave it to him. He took the license and took the clip off. And you know what it was?
What was it?
It was a card from Monopoly that's get out of jail free card. Yeah. That actually came from a cop.
Wow.
So humor can get you out of it.
I never thought that would happen. I didn't even see that part of the story coming.
Yeah.
Wow. A get out of jail free card. Nice. Now, Greg, you know what? It makes sense what you're doing, because once again, it puts it back to the sociable part. It does that. And now with me, I don't carry Monopoly pieces, but if I had one, I would actually take that move and actually try it myself. I'm not gonna lie to you if that happened.
Yeah, I would try it.
Man.
You know, the entire book is written based on what they've said to me, because there were so many things that I didn't understand. I didn't know, for example, that officers are more afraid in that first 7 seconds when they pull you over than they are if they're in a gun battle. I didn't know that. Yeah, and the reason is they don't know what's going to happen. If they're in a gunfight, they kind of know what's going to happen.
That makes sense.
Right. So that first seconds determines whether or not you're going home or not.
Wow.
So that's the reason I put these principles in there, so people can de-escalate that before it even gets out of hand.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're listening right now, because I did not know that myself. What Greg just said, the first 7 seconds you get pulled over, the cop's head is kind of, Greg didn't say this, these are my words, they're kind of flip-flopping. They don't know what's going to happen. They're thinking of the worst case scenarios. So please pay attention to what Greg is saying right now, because this right here could actually make or break you after second number 7. So please pay attention to this. Yeah. Now let me ask you this, Greg. Why do you think there was a spike in police violence in around 2016, 2017? It's like it was a raise in violence going on. What do you think actually did that?
I'm going to keep this one short. Trump. Yeah. It's an answer that people don't want to hear, Michael, but let me pull out something and you tell me if you noticed it. Okay. That's the time he announced his presidency and that rhetoric started, more people came out and they were not afraid to be racist in public. Yes. Look at Charlottesville. Look at the comments he's making right now. It divides the country. And it gives people who are on the edge the entitlement they need to be openly racist. Wow. And it's not an answer I like to give, but I'm just telling you what I see. And what I see is he's unafraid to be racist. And
that is true.
I don't need to say it. People know it. It's not like I'm giving you something new. The proof is there. You know, people want to debate it, but I'm just looking at the facts. Go all the way back to New York in the Central Park 5. Look at how they handled apartments. All of that stuff created this era that we're living in right now. So that was the reason, and there was a true spike during that time.
That is true. And you know what, Greg? I'm gonna fast forward this to 2019, because Trump was actually about 30 minutes away from my house. I'm in North Carolina. Okay. He came to Greenville, North Carolina, and he walked on the campus of a college campus called ECU, East Carolina University.
Yeah.
Yes. So I heard a lot of people showed their true colors when he came. He came in, spitting racial slurs, doing some of everything out there they should have been doing. So it makes me think twice if my doctor or my dentist was out there spitting racial slurs, and then I got to go see him in a month. It makes me think, like, what is this guy really thinking about me right now? Or what can he do to me? You know, people show their true colors. But what I believe people don't understand is it's not 100% guaranteed that Trump will actually be president 2020. It's not 100% yet. Yeah. So they need to watch themselves on how people carry themselves, because if Trump is gone, what are these people going to do then? Even down to the cops.
No, I hear you. And you know, Michael, I think it gets back to our responsibility to ourselves and to our children. If we understand the training that I'm talking about and how to avoid it, it goes back years. You know, if I look at how my mom lived and how she had to watch herself during that time, that's what I'm trying to teach my daughter.
Wow. Wow. Big shout outs to you, Greg, and big shout outs to your daughter. I know she is handling herself with no problem. I
Yeah.
definitely know she is. Yes. Now, what is the best way to purchase the book, The First 7 Seconds?
Amazon, best way. If you were to go on Amazon and look up The First 7 Seconds, use the number 7
Okay.
and my name, Greg Winston, you'll find it. You can see the reviews of people who've read it and learned stuff. And Michael, as sure as I'm sitting here, I'm trying to save somebody's child. You know, if you really look at this, the true benefit of this book is teaching us how to de-escalate violence so we can get home safely.
Wow. Now, as far as it goes on the West Coast, how do you feel the ratio is from good cop to bad cop?
I will say this. When I looked at the number of cops that I talked to, uh, there's about a 1 to 5% ratio of people who were suspect. Most of the police officers are good people. The great majority of them are. But I've noticed this. There were two things that stood out to me. Whenever I found a bad one, he was with a good one. I didn't find two that gave me an eerie feeling. Typically, there was a good cop, bad cop. The other thing that I noticed is that if one of the cops was a minority and he was with a white cop, he tended to defer to the white cop.
Wow.
It was surprising to me.
Wow. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. So the question is, if you're pulled over by a black cop or a white cop, which one is more likely to cause you harm? Both.
So it's really anybody that's under that blue suit.
Under that blue suit, because we keep thinking it's the officer, and it's not. It's the institution, Michael. If you look at how they hire, how they train, how they don't train to de-escalate, how they train to shoot, it's systemic. And we tend to look at an officer and think that's the problem. It's not that. And it's so strong that even the good ones are clouded by it because the bad ones get all the press.
That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. And Greg, here's the thing. The cops, when they go through training camp and everything, they get the same training. So is it the DNA inside of that cop is making them twist what they're doing? Or
no, it's the system. You know how I don't know if you remember this when Rodney King was beaten. Yes. If you notice, it was like a pack of wild dogs on him. That started with one cop and spread to another and spread to another. And I think that's what happens in those situations. They get amped up. And even a cop who you would think is good, all of a sudden his morals are called into question. And I tell people all the time, when I started interviewing cops, I found some great human beings. And I'm not here today to tell you cops are bad. Officers are not bad. I'm saying that there are a few and they get more attention because of the news media. But most of them are good people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, and I agree with you on that, Greg, because on your social media, on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken, you posted in a cop that's doing the dance to that country song. I saw that. And I know that's a big trend that's going on right now. And I see he looks relaxed. He doesn't seem like he's all amped up and he's like a bad cop, as you say, you know, because you can say good cop, bad cop, and that is true. But you know what? I think some people need to know when to do their job correctly and when not to. Like that cop that was on your social media, he was having fun. But I guarantee if something would have broke out, he would have done his job the right way at the same time. Yeah. So that's why I commend cops like that. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Yes.
But it's just messed up when you have people that's actually mixed in together, good cop, bad cop, riding on the same car. Because how do you handle that situation? I mean, what you said in the books is the way you handle it. But if they don't read this book, Greg, what do people do?
Well, you know, I think if they don't have not just my book, but if they don't have a way to understand how police officers think. They're first of all going to be nervous, and they're going to act out of fear. And it's going to ratchet up their behavior, which is going to ratchet up the officer's behavior.
Right.
But look at the opposite side. If they know how they think, when an officer pulls them over, they're not going to be nervous. They'll be calm. Even if the cop is agitated, they'll be cool. And I think that in the first 7 seconds can save lives. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, make sure you go to Amazon, get this book, get the first 7 seconds. You cannot go without this book. There's too many good information and details in this book. You have to get it. Seriously, if your family, if you got nephews, nieces, cousins, kids, it doesn't matter. Get this book. Valuable information. Greg is here to help you people. Make sure you do pay attention to this. Seriously. Now, Greg, how can people find you on social media?
Well, one Greg Winston on Instagram is the best way right now. Like I posted that piece that you saw. Yes. The Instagram thing is kind of catching on. I've been doing a lot on that. I've had people write into me on that. So that right now is the best way to do it. I'm also on Facebook, Greg Winston. You can just check it out there. But Instagram is the way.
Okay. Now, Greg, do you have any plans? Oh, go ahead.
Yes, one Greg Winston, the number one Greg Winston, Instagram.
Nice. Make sure everybody that's following right now, connect up with Greg. You never know what else he's going to post next. He's here to help people. He's giving valuable information. Now, Greg, are you planning to make any, you have any future projects for any more books that come out in the future?
Yeah, I've been sharing stories with people, and they've been telling me what's going on, and I'm analyzing right now how I'm going to bring that to the public. So something's in the works, but right now I want to monitor this, see how this goes, see how it's received, and so far it's great.
Nice. Yeah. Now, Greg, what advice would you give any male or female that wants to become an author?
Well, that's a good one. I feel that most people have a book in them, and if that's true, let's get your story down. The best thing you can do is write something that's going to help someone. Either that's a story about your life and what you've gone through to get to where you are, or you have some important information that you discovered, similar to what I did. But do an outline of that book so you get your story down. And I wish everybody well on writing a book. And Michael, I'll tell you, whether you get a publisher to look at it or not is not the issue. Publish your book if you feel that strongly about it. Do it yourself, but get your story out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, Greg, this is the last segment of the show right here. This is what I call take the floor. So you have 2 minutes to say whatever you want. It doesn't matter if it's thanking your fans or if there's any more vital information you want to give out. There's no questions. The floor is on you, Greg. Take the floor.
Okay. Here's what I'd like to say, Michael. When I stop and think about everything that we've talked about today, the one thing I want to say to people is that police officers are a lot like us. They have families they want to go home to. They're concerned about their kids and they want to be safe. By understanding how they think, then we know how to calibrate what our actions are. If everybody is reading off the same hymnals, then we can all go home safely. Don't forget, though, that as you go through this, you're going to meet an officer who's had a bad day or a bad time. Your job is to remind them of someone that they like, someone that they haven't had a problem with. In that first 7 seconds, because they're human, if you come across human, the chance of you going home safely are phenomenal. But if you have attitude, if it's negative, remember, they're the ones with the guns. So let's just make sure that we conduct ourselves in a way with pride, with dignity, and with intelligence. That's what I want to tell people.
Nice. Greg, thank you once again for coming on the show. And I would love to have you back on and again in the future.
Oh, I'd love to come back, Coop.
Yes, sir. Everybody, you make sure you stay tuned soon. You actually see who the next guest is. Everybody, once again, make sure you follow Greg on Instagram. Also, go to Amazon. Once again, this is vital. This is important. Get the book, the first 7 seconds. Get it. All right, Greg, thank you very much, and you have a great day.
All right. Thank you, Coop.
Thank you.
Goodbye.